New legislation signed into law this week by Democratic Governor Jared Polis seeks to fix the way the state supervises its thousands of parolees.
So the law comes as a direct result of a series of reports by 9 News investigative reporter Chris Vanderveen, who recently talked to a trio of mothers most impacted by what they call a broken parole system.
Thank you all. I know that this is as personal of a story as can be told.
They're linked. Not by name, not by blood, but by loss, a striking familiarity with the feeling of absence.
And I'm coming up on my year anniversary, and it's still incredibly hard, as it is for all of you, not just me. I understand it's hard for all of us.
Michelle Schaefer's son last year.
So I might be one of the only people in the world who actually enjoys public speaking.
Sherry Hamrick's daughter the year before. Leanne Harness's grandson that same year.
I'm not sure I can explain the loss. It still is devastating.
3 victims of crimes. 3 crimes linked to 3 people, each under supervision by the state of Colorado.
My daughter was killed by somebody that was out on parole, and he had seen his parole officer the very day he killed her.
I wanted them together because together their stories form the heart of an investigation now a year and a half in.
Do you believe the state can fix this?
Oh, it's possible to fix. Are they going to, is the question.
9 News Investigates found repeated and systemic errors with how the state determined the risk levels of its roughly 8,000 parolees. We identified errors that, at least in some instances, left parolees inadequately supervised in the days and weeks leading up to their new crimes.
It's not that difficult, I don't think. And I don't understand how they could have messed up, if you will, so often.
When the state's Department of Corrections did its own review of the assessment scores of the man accused of killing Leanne Harness's grandson, for example, it found errors on every one of the 8 risk assessments done on him since 2018. As the state expanded its review of assessments as a result of our investigation, it found an error rate of 98%.
Where else in any job, any government job, where can you have that a percentage of failure and call yourself, an agency that's working?
I was blown away that it was that much. Blown away.
Why did it take a reporter from 9 News to figure this problem out?
I have always wondered that. I never have gotten the answer. You managed to find something that no one else saw.
It's why Colorado State Representative Matt Soper recognized our reporting in this new law that seeks to make sure DOC follows through on its pledged reforms.
My frustration with DOC is that they didn't really take it serious.
Among other things, it states it's the legislature's intent to keep assessments open to the public in order to allow the public, and thus 9 News, to continue to hold DOC accountable. It also requires DOC to update its training and its reviews of these assessments, and then report its findings yearly to the state legislature.
We really do need to get this right.
Representative Soper acknowledged not one legislator voted against the bill. He says it would have been simply too difficult for them to have ignored the victims' families' stories.
I would say that it's because of them and because of their voices, because of journalists' voices, that we listened.
To those now linked by their stories of loss. What do you want the head of the Department of Corrections to know? They say they remain skeptical.
I want them to know that change needs to be done, and it can't just be talk. We need to actually see some change.
Skeptical, yet hopeful something can be gained by it.
Can it be changed? Absolutely, with dedicated, intelligent people realizing how horrific this really is.
Colorado DOC has already pledged to essentially rescore the assessments of more than 1,700 people on parole right now as a result of our investigation. It's also retrained its trainers and leaders on how to do these assessments properly, but I can tell you, a year and a half into this investigation, we still really don't have a great idea of how the state is doing. It's trying to keep score, but The scoring is going slowly, and right now there's 8,000 people on parole right now in the state of Colorado. We don't have a real good idea of how they've been assessed.
When you say 1,700, all I thought of is, what about the rest?
These are the 1,700 that the state has deemed low-level risk to reoffend. It really makes sense to start in that area, because if you're wrong on the low level, maybe they should be high, and if you're scoring them low, they're not being supervised enough. So it makes sense to start there. But we don't really have great results as to how this all is going. The state is pledging transparency. We're going to be on it. I got to tell you, it's moving pretty slow.
Well, it makes me feel better that you're on it, because that kind of rate, that 98% number, it's still, every time you come out here and present one of these stories, my jaw is on the ground. It's awful.
It's as one of the mothers said, like, where else on earth could you accept a 98% failure rate and still be okay with what you're doing?
Nowhere.
The state knows it has a problem. It knows it needs to fix it, but this is, I fear in some ways, it's such a massive problem that I think they're trying to fix it. They in many ways, they don't know where to start.
I know, but those moms felt like they didn't have a voice before, so thank you.
Now they do.
Chris, thanks.
Yep.